Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute little sun that I'm calling Sunshine in My Pocket. This is a great way to spread a little happy and a little bit of positivity by crocheting. So what I did, the idea behind this is to kind of share these with people in your life and stick them in maybe someone's lunch or their backpack, or put it in someone's purse, or maybe a jacket pocket. So when they go about their day and discover this little sunshine that you've made, maybe it will spread a little bit of positivity and bring a smile to someone's face. So this is a really easy little project and only takes a few minutes to make. So definitely make a few of these and just spread them everywhere. And this is a fun project to make as well. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a 5mm H crochet hook, a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors, and your yarn. I'm going to be using some worsted weight yarn. You can use any worsted weight yarn you like. This is Red Heart Super Saver in some bright yellow. And then I have a scrap piece of Red Heart Super Saver in black. Also, something that might help when we're doing the kind of fringy sunshine rays is a ruler. That'll help measure your pieces of yarn. So let's get started. What we're going to do is make the main part of the sun, the circle part, first. So what we're going to do is put a slip knot on our hook. And I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and scoot some of this stuff out of the way so you can see better. Okay, so to make a slip knot on the hook, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Then we're going to chain 4. To make a chain, wrap yarn around hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then in the chain farthest from the hook, we're going to join with a slip stitch to create a ring, and that's what we'll be working our stitches into. This is just a tiny little sun. So insert the hook into the chain farthest from your hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook, and we now have the ring that we'll be working our stitches into. Now this tail here, we're going to hold along the edge as we work. That will weave that in as we go along. So what we're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to work 15 double crochets into the center of the ring. So this one counts as one of our double crochets. So we'll have a total of 16 spokes on our wheel of our circle here. But because this counts as one of them, we're going to have a total of 16. So let's make 15 more. So to make a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops on your hook. So that's 1. Now let's do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I get a little bit more yarn here. And another thing too, if you need to push these stitches over, we're putting lots of stitches into the center of this ring. So if you need to push them over, that's helpful as well. Still holding that tail as we work. So we just did 7, so let's do 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, pushing over if needed, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so our circle is complete. Now let's join, count 1, 2, 3 chains up, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round. So insert your hook into that chain, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop to the loop already on your hook. Then we're going to cut the yarn and go ahead and fasten off and pull tight to make that a nice secure knot. Okay, and we can kind of straighten things out. And then this tail that we wove in as we went along, go ahead and pull that really, really tight and trim the yarn. Okay? So the main part of our sun is ready, okay? Then what we're going to do, we're going to add the fringy rays around the edge of our sun. So go ahead and let's weave this end in. We trimmed the other end, but we need to weave this end in. Now the side that faced you while you were making your stitches, this is the right side, and then this is the wrong side or the back side of the work. So go ahead and weave, flip it over and weave your tail in to the back of your sun. Okay, and then you can kind of straighten things out as needed and trim with your scissors. Okay, so next we're going to cut some yarn pieces to make our sunshine rays. Okay, so what I'm going to do is lay my ruler down and let's make them about 6 inches a piece. Now we did 16, we have 16 spokes on our wheel, so let's cut about 16 pieces. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just cut my finger, not the yarn, make sure you cut your yarn, 6. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep cutting, and then we'll rejoin and I'll show you how to put them all on. Okay, so all of our strands are cut. I have 16 here. If it looks a little thin, we can always add more, or if there's spaces in between them. So each one of these stitches that you see around the edge here, what we're going to do is insert our hook into a stitch, any old stitch, doesn't matter which one, and then grab a piece of yarn and kind of fold it in half. Now take that loop and hook it onto your crochet hook and pull it through about halfway so that that loop is sticking out. Then we're going to send these 2 tails at the other end through that loop. We're basically making very simple fringe, okay? And then pull to tighten. Okay, so our first sunshine ray is complete. Now, this will be trimmed later. We're going to trim this. This is a little bit wild looking, but you want them to be a little long because it's easier to get them through when you're wrapping them. Okay, so go to the next stitch, grab a piece of yarn, hook it onto your hook with that loop, and then see, any shorter it would be really hard to send those tails through. So just make your loop, bring your tails through, and tighten. Okay, it's looking more like someone with a ponytail. Okay, so next stitch, insert the hook, hook the yarn onto your hook there, pull it through about halfway to get your loop, send those tails through, and tighten. Just making a circle with fringe, basically. Grab your next piece of yarn, insert the hook into that next stitch, hook your yarn onto there, bring it through about halfway, pull the tails through, and tighten it down, okay? Just repeat this all the way around your sun, okay? All right, I'm going to continue adding some sunshine rays onto my sun. Now when you pull these, see how it pulls it? It makes kind of a loop. See how it's just kind of shaping it back down, okay? I'm going to continue doing this all the way around, and then we will rejoin once I get all these on there, and then we'll give it a little haircut. Okay, I've gone ahead and add all the sunshine rays on here, and now we're ready to trim them. It's looking a little wild, so we need to give them a little trim. So I think the easiest thing to do is just kind of lay it down on the table and trim it that way. And I would also trim it a little longer than you think you need. You can always go back and trim it a little bit shorter later. It's better to trim and leave yourself a little extra than to do too much. So go ahead and just go all the way around your sun, and I'm deliberately cutting these a little bit longer than I want them to be because I want to see what it looks like. Okay, so go all the way around. I love this sun because it reminds me of those suns that you drew when you were a child, where you do a circle and then just draw lines coming out of it. These kind of sketchy little suns. Okay, so it's a little bit more manageable now. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim it a little bit more. Again, you don't want to trim too much right away. You want to just take it a little bit at a time. So you can kind of trim and then look back and see how it looks. Okay. We need to go around a couple of times and get all those little yarn crumbs out of the way. Okay, so once you get your fringe the way you like it, and it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. This is a happy, fun little project. All right, once you get your sun's rays exactly how you want them. Now, if you want your sun too, if you want these little rays to be a little bit denser, you can go through and just add another round of fringe to the edges into the same stitches that you worked these into. But if you're happy with it, I think this looks really cute. You can put a face on your sun. Now you don't have to do this, it's totally up to you. But we're going to cut a piece of yarn, and again, it's handy to have your ruler, about 12 inches long, and then thread it onto our tapestry needle. Now I wanted to point out that I'm going to be doing French knots for the eyes. If you don't want to do French knots, or you don't have experience, or you don't feel comfortable doing French knots, you can just sew a little bead onto here for the eyes. You could not have a face at all on your sun, just carry a little sunshine around. Or you can sew a button, you know, grab two little buttons and sew those on, okay? So what we're going to do is figure out where you want your eyes to go on your sun, okay? I'm going to put mine just right about here. Okay, so come up from the back with your needle. See how I'm coming up from the back? And come all the way up. You may need to twist a little bit if you're going through these yarn plies. And then just pull it through until you have a tail about 2 or 3 inches long. Okay, now lay your sun down on the table. I have a whole separate video on French knots if you would like to master this before you jump into this project. I personally can say, and I think I say this in the video too, but I had to make many, many French knots before I felt comfortable and liked the way they looked, actually. So we brought our yarn up, and then we're going to wrap it 1, 2 times around the needle, and then we're going to go back down just next to where we came up. Not exactly where we came up, but just next to it. We don't want to go too far apart, but just right next to it. And then bring your needle through. Let's get those little sunshine rays out of the way. And just pull your needle through, and then you'll have a nice little knot for your eye. Okay? And you can shape it up a little bit if needed. Now figure out where you want your other eye to go. I'm going to put mine right about here. And bring your needle through and just do the same thing. Go 1, 2 times around. And then go back down. Right next to where you came up. That's the trick with the French knot, is to go just right next to it. And then just gently pull through. We don't want to go too fast with embroidery. And just kind of shape up the eyes, okay? Now this looks cute. You can just leave the eyes there, but I'm going to give mine a little smile. Okay? So what we're going to do is bring the needle down at the bottom here. See how my needle and the 2 eyes are making a triangle? I'm just gonna come up and make a little stitch down at the bottom. Just like that, okay? Then we're going to come across and just kind of eyeball it where you want. We're gonna draw an imaginary line from the needle to this other stitch we just did. We're doing the back stitch for the smile. And then put the needle back down where that stitch is. Okay? So we have the beginnings of a little smile. It looks very cheerful. And then if you want to make the smile a little bit bigger, this is kind of a little grin right now. If you want to make a little bit wider of a smile, just add a little stitch on either side of these little stitches that you made. Okay, just like that. Now with embroidery, especially when you're embroidering little details like this, you might need to pull a stitch out and redo it. That's perfectly fine. And then we're just going to put one right there, right next to where we had it. Okay, so our sun looks so cute and cheerful, and it's such an easy little project. Definitely make lots of these and stick them all over the place. You can put them in someone's lunch, you can put them in a purse or a briefcase or a backpack or someone's desk. Just kind of tuck it somewhere, and then when they find it, it'll be a little bit of a little happy wherever they are during their day when they find it. Or you can put one in there in your own bag, and you know, to remind yourself to stop and smile and, you know, think happy thoughts. Okay, so our sunshine is complete, and I'm just going to trim those a little bit. They looked a little bit long. So our sunshine is complete, and it looks very cute. Okay, so that is how you crochet the sunshine in my pocket. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.